Sitting here with Slash. Welcome to a very hot Stockholm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not hot for you.
It was pretty warm yesterday because
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for it. So I came. Well, I always have my leather jacket with me anyway, but I was wearing it and I had whatever I was wearing. I can't remember, but it was after a walk around town. I had a little bit of a sweat going.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. It's almost like the world is on fire. Coincidentally,
Yeah, right.
that's the name of your new album. This is called your solo project, but it's the second time that you release an album in a constellation Slash featuring Myles Kennedy and Conspirators. Yeah. So does it feel like it's still a solo project? Or?
I think it really started to become sort of my band. You know, I only say that because I sort of direct it and sort of do the business end of it. But the rest of it is really sort of a band thing. You know, Myles and I are writing partners and still in collaboration with the Conspirators as far as like I have the sort of basis of the song. We work it up together. They play the parts the way they want to play it, and we sort of very organically arrange and create the music. So it's very much a band effort.
Mm-hmm. Does Myles write the lyrics and you write the music?
Yeah.
Or do you?
I write the music and he writes the lyrics. And you know, oftentimes once he gets his melodies together, we'll change parts around to fit the melody and whatnot. So. Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of working with him recently when he was at Sweden Rock Festival with Alter Bridge.
Right.
And you used the same producer, Elvis, as Alter Bridge, right?
Yeah.
Did you? It's a funny name.
His Instagram is Elvis Liberace.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Cool name. Did you find him through Myles and Alter Bridge, or did you know him before?
I had to find us a new producer, and there wasn't a lot of bands, a lot of records that I was like, okay, I want to do work with this guy. But the latest Alter Bridge record sounded phenomenal. Like I loved the rhythm section when it sounded. So I asked Myles about it, and he was like, well, I don't have anything to say. You just got to talk to him. So I called Elvis, and we had a great conversation on the phone, and talked about using tape, which he's a totally adept tape engineer, which was a bonus. And talked about guitars, and the conversation about guitars was such that I was so inspired that I said, okay, you're hired.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good. But I know that you used Myles for your as a guest on your first solo album.
That's how we met.
Yeah, how did the collaboration come about? Like, did you find him so suiting for the next one that you just?
Well, it's a longer story than that.
Okay.
I mean, initially with Myles, I'd never met him before. I just heard about him. I didn't know even what he sang like. But I've been hearing about him for years. And then I asked him to sing a song on my new solo record with all the different singers. And he was fucking great. And so then I asked him to, and then we met. He came to Los Angeles and we recorded the studio version of Starlight. And I just really liked him. He was just very sort of laid back and cool. You've met him, you know.
Yes.
And so then he sang another song called Back from Cali. And at that point I asked him if he wanted to do a tour with me, because I was putting together a tour to go out and support that album and stuff. And I guess it was obvious to me somehow that I knew he could sing the bulk of material from that solo record. And I also knew that he could sing, it was just a gut feeling, he could sing all the Velvet Revolver and Guns N' Roses and Snake Pit stuff. Yeah. Which is a tough order, right?
Yeah.
Tall order. And so he said he signed on to do it, and then I went out and started auditioning drummers and stuff, and I was pointed in the direction of Brent Fitz, and he was phenomenal. And then he introduced me to Todd Kearns, and we had a magical rehearsal, like 30 songs to learn in a very short amount of time. Then Myles came in and started singing, and it was just the chemistry was just great. Yeah. So we went out on the road, and what started out to be a handful of shows turned into a year and a half.
Okay.
So we really enjoyed working together from all different aspects, from being able to travel together, well, most importantly, performing together, and then being able to travel together and just being able to have a good time. And it was great. So I thought during that tour, I was like, well, if I was going to do another record, I would just do it with these guys.
Yeah.
So I told them, you know, I mentioned that to them, and they were like, hey, yeah, whatever. And so I wrote a bunch of music on the road, and then we got back from the tour, and we put together Apocalyptic Love, and went in the studio and performed it live with no overdubs or anything. And that was really telling as to the sort of working relationship that we had. And we went on the road for another year, and so I just wrote a bunch more music, and we got back together and did World on Fire. So that's the story in a nutshell.
Yeah. I listened to the album. I don't know if it will start in the order that I listened to it, but it started with World on Fire, that song. Yeah. To me, it was a very explosive song. It you know, you got right into the album. For me, it was very it really caught my attention. It feels very classic hard rock, in your face, but still very soft elements. Is the music very you, or is it, you know, all of you guys? Does it represent?
Well, I mean, you know, I bring the initial idea, I guess is the best way to put it. And then, so that's really where the vibe is, and then we sort of create it from there, and sort of get the sort of body of the music together, sort of loosely, you know. Yeah. And then Myles is out with Alter Bridge at that point, and then I send it to him, and so at his leisure, he starts to come up with melodies, and having the vocal on it really sort of gives it a certain color, you know, like it cements the feel of the song. You know.
Yeah, all the songs. I mean, his voice can be very soft, but it's still very powerful. And I felt that the music was, well, it had both of those elements as well. Some parts were very, very hard, and some very, very soft. Yeah. So it had, you know, everything, but it still felt really like classic, but with a bit of a, you know, an edge.
All right. I mean, I verbally can never explain anything. We just sort of do it, and it is what it is. So it's always interesting to see what other people's interpretation of it is. You know? But it is diverse. You know, it's like it has a lot of. I hate to just write and just stay in one vein. You know, so. But it's primarily all hard rock, just with a little different rhythmic twists or whatever.
Yeah. Well, how does it look? A normal recording day you record in LA, right?
Yeah, well, we recorded the basic tracks in Los Angeles, and we did the guitars and the vocals at Mike Busquette, Elvis, his studio called Barbarossa in Orlando, Florida. But a basic day for the five of us doing the basic tracks is we get there roughly around noon, start toning in the drums, you know, and you know, roughly like around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock we start jamming, and we just play the song a few times and make sure that we got it all together. We rehearse the shit out of it before we ever enter the studio anyway, and then just start banging it out. So we were doing roughly 2 songs a day on that record, so it didn't take long to get the basics down.
2 songs a day. And it's how many tracks was it?
17.
Like 17. Yeah, it was pretty many.
So it took, I mean, it took basically like a week and a half. And then, so yeah, we just hang out. I mean, it's really, there's no studio protocol or, you know, we just go in and we're very focused, you know, but we're very laid back, and it's you know, we have a good time doing it, but we definitely go in and work really hard until it's done. And then went out to Florida, and I started doing the guitars, and that was just me just being in guitar land
okay.
for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Todd came in and he did his background vocals. Brent came in, did some percussion, and Myles came in and did all the lead vocals.
Yeah. Oh, sounds normal.
Yeah, I mean it's not, you know, it's not a big deal.
The artwork on the album is very colorful and a bit different. It's not, you know, that's not classic rock and roll. How do you have any part in it?
Yeah, well, no, I'm one of those hands-on with everything people. But the thing is when we were doing the record, maybe because of the pace we were doing it at, I couldn't think what the title should be. And so when we were mixing is when I finally decided that it should be World on Fire, because I couldn't think of anything sort of abstract that really encompassed the whole record. So World on Fire sounded good. And then once I had that title, then I started picturing something really chaotic. Because World on Fire to me meant just pandemonium, you know, just like everything going on all at once.
Yeah.
And so I looked at different artists that I dig. And I ended up calling Ron English, who's somebody I've worked with before. And I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
So every time he posts something, he's the one guy that has totally berserk artwork.
Okay.
And so I told him that I needed an album cover, and I needed something that was already finished because I didn't have enough time to commission somebody to paint an idea.
Yeah.
You know. So he sent me a handful of his paintings, and there was this one called Cerebral Celebration, which is what we ended up using. That just really sort of was like a second. It was like that's it. That's perfect.
So it's really a painting. What does he use to paint?
Paint?
Just paint.
No, I don't know.
No, it's not.
Just being a smartass. No, I mean he has his own sort of methodology of doing stuff. He creates his own models, things, you know, like these deformed sort of like something that you're familiar with, and he fucks with it so that it's different.
Yeah.
And then on this particular one, I think he took a few of these models and whatnot, and then he photoshops stuff and paints everything. I'm not really totally sure. You'd have to ask him, but that's my take on it.
It's a little bit like you though. You're something that people are familiar with, and still you go and fuck with it a little bit because you have done collaborations with artists that you don't really expect, like Michael Jackson, of course, for example. Is that something you like? Do you like to?
Well, it's not like I don't have a plan, you know. I don't have like a certain kind of like idea as to what I'm doing really. But when I get called in to work with other people, I love taking different styles of music that you wouldn't expect me to be on, and then infusing a little rock and roll into it, and showing how rock works with a lot of different things. But it also I change my style around to sort of in the feel of whatever it is, so it's not like completely left of center and just pasting it on there. It's all got to work, you know. But it's a lot of fun for me. It's great to work in different people's environments and sort of adapt, and it's very humbling, keeps you very grounded, you know, so that you compliment somebody's work as opposed to coming in and going, this is how it's going to be with me here, you know. And it's just a lot of fun, and I'm a player, so I just like playing.
Oh, sounds nice. You like to play, and we like to listen. I heard that you got a tattoo here yesterday. Is it somewhere on your body where you can actually show us?
It's right here. So
I'm
not gonna get into
what did you get?
I did a drawing. When I did Apocalyptic Love, the concept of these angel and devil girls sort of in a sexual situation that I thought Apocalyptic Love. And so the original drawing that I did was very suggestive to the point where it couldn't go on the album cover because nobody would carry it. So I had a different one made the album cover, but I still had the original drawing, which is where the girls were full-bodied and naked and in an embrace. And so I've been planning for like 2 years to get a tattoo of it, and I finally did it.
Okay. Oh, you have been planning. It wasn't just I'm in Stockholm.
Well, it was sort of spontaneous to do it last night. I mean, there's tattoo parlors everywhere, but I just didn't. And my friend Morgan was getting her tattoo, and she liked the artist, so we had the idea. Plus, she took the artwork with her. She had it was on one of our laminates. So I said, okay.
Oh, it's nice. I'm gonna let you go. To set the world on fire.
All right.
One last question. If this album was a dish, what would it be?
A dish like food?
Like food.
Probably Indian food.
Indian food.
Spicy, You asked.
Yeah, I know. Great answer. Thank you so much for talking with us, Slash, and we'll look forward to your album that's released in September, World on Fire, and hopefully see you back here.
You definitely will, if not this year, sometime next year for sure.
Thank you so much.
All right. Nice talking to you.